Welcome to Starting Lineup for Round 15. I'm your host, Jason Sagini, continuing to mourn poor Andrew Wiebe, who is not here anymore, but you can see him later on the site on another edition of Brazil Bound. On to fantasy. Unlimited transfers this week, but only 4 teams to choose from, as the only 2 games are DC at Montreal and Dallas at Portland. So where are you going to put your fantasy dollars? Probably right here. So you ask yourself, how in the world can I differentiate myself from my opponents this week? Well, you can start with your hair, or you could buy some exotic animals. Either way, you should really worry about your fantasy score. So things to keep in mind here is that Montreal has a double game week next time out. So as much as they haven't been major fantasy impact players, you should feel free to load up on them. And while Marco VAIO is obvious, he's also expensive. And Jack Mack is pretty pricey himself. So how about going with ROMERO at the forward position? He plays across from Justin Mapp as a wide midfielder, but he's a decent option, likes to get forward into the attack. Even though he hasn't played 90 minutes all season, he has scored in 2 straight games. I think it's a little bit of a risk, but I expect him to be in that starting lineup come Wednesday. Another off-the-radar guy, and maybe not for too long now, is ESCOBAR of FC Dallas. He's a great complement to Fabian Castillo, and while he hasn't been healthy for much of the season, he did finally play 90 minutes on Saturday and somewhat unintentionally scored a goal off a Jair Benitez free kick. As much as they're trying to tighten things up in the back, Portland has given up 15 goals in their last 6 home games. It's not a bad risk to take to go with ESCOBAR. Also of note, the Vancouver Whitecaps have a double week in round 16. So grabbing guys like Hurtado, Mana, and Morales now with your unlimited transfers will probably help you as you move forward. And finally, chances are that Diego Valeri and Fedendo Adi are going to be the most captain players for this week, and for good reason. But if you're looking for a differentiator, a way to perhaps make up some ground on your opponents, you might want to look elsewhere for your captain. I'd hope to come in here and give you some good advice and say, here's a guy who will probably get as many or more points as them, but honestly, I got nothing for you. I'm going with one of those 2. That's all I have for starting lineup this week. Enjoy the final matches before the World Cup break, and of course, enjoy the World Cup. I will see you, and hopefully Andrew, after the break.